Last class we were discussing about the browser handle. Browser handle was completed to an extent. I mean, when I say to an extent, it is like with the handle variable, we what you call generalize the code. That is, as we discussed earlier. I'll just show you the code because it's been a long time since people have seen the browser handle code. If at all you have not practiced, okay. This was the left part of the code, and this will be your right part. I mean, this will be your right part of the code, and this one was the middle part of the code. Okay. Again, to reiterate, in line number 30, left part of the code, it is with ampersand handle, where we take the handle property with getArrow property. It was having some number, and we are passing that variable in here. Okay, so this one was the middle part, and the right side part is the input, data input part, where we pass the test data. As I said, right, this can be a generalized code and it can be used across the project. This can be used across the projects, but in our framework, right, we'll just get into one step ahead, and we'll be using something called as data dictionary to generalize. Okay, I'll again reiterate, you can use this directly, there is no harm in that, but in our framework, we will be using, in our framework design, when you are a framework designer, right, we will be using data dictionary. Okay, the left part of the code, we will be using the data dictionary, and right part of the code also we will be using the data dictionary. Right side part is which one? Whatever the method you pass the input, right, the test data input, that is also will be using, that part also we will be using the data dictionary. Now you will be wondering why exactly I need to use the data dictionary in all those parts. Okay, let me just reiterate. Okay, in the data driven framework, right, let me open the code. In the data driven framework code, how exactly you were passing the data, let me just open the code. Okay, now my whole objective, what exactly I am discussing now, I am going to discuss data dictionary, guys. Okay, which is very important, very important. Okay, now the data dictionary part, right, data dictionary, if anybody asks, okay, what exactly the data dictionary means, data dictionary is a virtual file. Okay, data dictionary is a virtual file which has the key and the item. Okay, data dictionary is a virtual file which has a key and the item pair. Okay, let me just showcase you in a diagram manner. Okay, data dictionary is a virtual file which has key and the item. Very important concept, guys. You have to tell this in the interview. Key and the item. Okay, in this case, what is the key and what is the item? Okay, key is nothing but your variable name, and item is nothing but your value. Okay, so in our code, what I'll do is, before getting into the code, I'll showcase you with this way. I'll just showcase you through the this way. Assume this is my test data sheet. Okay, what is the key and what is the item? Amount is my key, and for that, whatever the value is there, right, that's called as an item. Interest is my key, and whatever the value is my item. Tenure is the key, and whatever the value is the item. So how exactly it looks like? This will be like, say, amount is my variable name. Assume amount is my variable name. It is taken as key. Okay, and how much the amount is? amount is 10,000. Okay, and interest is my key. Interest is my key. I'm just scribbling, guys. Interest is my key, and value is 5. The next key is what? Tenure. Tenure is my key, and value is what? 8. Okay, so what is this key and the item pair means? Key is the variable name and item is that value. Okay, and generally, what is this data dictionary means? Data dictionary is nothing but it's a virtual file which appears, which basically will be in the background, will be holding the key and the item. When we say key and the item, it's holding a variable. Okay, it's a virtual file which will be existing only during the runtime, and you can use that values, you can use that variable at any point in time. You can use this variable at any point in time. That is the most powerful feature of the data dictionary. I'll again reiterate, guys. Data dictionary is a virtual file which has the key and the item. It will be existing only during the runtime. Okay, and again I'll reiterate, guys, try to digest, okay, as much as possible. Okay, very key things I'll let you know. Okay, even if you're not understanding, it's not a problem. Again, it will be repeated in our framework design as well. But try to digest as much as possible because it goes one step ahead and suddenly we'll be saying you can use this and all those stuff. Okay, but we'll tell you what are the advantages by using the data dictionary. Okay, as of now, just try to understand, okay, whatever is the case is the best case for the framework design in the industry standard. So we'll be using the data dictionary for passing the test data in our framework design. So if anybody asks in the interview how exactly you are passing the test data, the answer should be through the data dictionary. Okay, again I reiterate, if anybody asks in the interview how do you pass the test data in your framework, the answer should be data dictionary. Okay, then they'll ask what is data dictionary. Data dictionary, you should be saying it's a virtual file. It's a virtual file which has the key and the item. Okay, it's a virtual file which has the key and the item pair. Key is nothing but your variable name and item is nothing but its value. Okay, in our case, in our coding, okay, if you see earlier, in our code, in the browser handle code, what will be the key and what will be the item? What will be the key and what will be the item? Okay, to pass this, shall I parameterize? When I parameterize, this will be what, guys? I should be saying uname. Uname equal to what? Uname equal to uname equal to this one. Okay, and pwd password. This one will be what? Learn123 dollar. Okay, if I say set uname and if I say pwd, okay, now line number 32 and 33, what exactly we call this as? What exactly we call this as? We call this procedure as whenever we pass the variable name. Basically what we are doing here, we are passing the variable name. We are passing the variable name. When we pass the variable name to pass the test data, what exactly we call this as? We call this as parameterization. Say uname will be holding what? UTP World 2008G, and PWD will be holding what? This learn123 dollar. So this one we call this as parameterization. Okay. Now the question will be, now the question is, can I give this code to the other project? Can I give this code to the other project? Left part, yes, I can. Left part, yes, I can do this. But can I give this to the other project? The discussion is open, guys. You can answer me. Can I give this right side part of the code, that is line number 32 and line number 33, can I give this code to the other project? Okay, let me see your answers. Everybody is saying no. Why? Because the other project also, Ravi is saying yes. Okay, let me just prove that. Okay, many people are no and one person is saying yes, we can give it to the other project. The answer would be no. We cannot give it to the other project. Why? Because when I design a project, that is in project 1, when I design a project, I might give as uname here. But the other project can give it as UID or username. They can have any name, right? They can have in their test data sheet any name. Okay, it's as good as, see, if you see here, this is my test data sheet. Assume this is my test data sheet. What test data we have is uname. Another thing is PWD. Okay, in project one we use this way, uname and PWD in my test data sheet. But the other project can use anything, right? They can use like this UID, or they can just give password completely. They can have any variable name, right? But if I give this code to the other project, if they are using a username as UID and if they are using password as this way, instead of PWD, if they use password, will my code work? No, my code won't be working. Okay, so whenever we pass any variable name, okay, like this, the design should be in such a way that regardless of whatever the key name, basically the column name, when I say key name, it's a column name. Regardless of whatever the column name, my code should work. So code should be written in such a way that it is generic. So for that, one of the most powerful feature which will help us is data dictionary. So if I use data dictionary, I would be able to pass the test data regardless of whatever the column name is. Okay, you'll be wondering how exactly you will do it. So before getting into that, if at all I need to use, the data dictionary, means for that I need to create an object. Okay, for the code will be set dict obj, dict object. It can be anything, guys, but generally we use this technical jargon. Dict obj, create object, scripting dot dictionary. The class value is scripting dot dictionary. When this code gets executed, okay, virtual file gets created. Okay, so how do you release the object? It's very simple. Set dict obj equal to what? Nothing. Set dict obj equal to what? Nothing. Okay, very simple thing, guys. Dict obj, when I say, it creates a virtual file. Okay, scripting.dictionary is a class value. And finally, the last line of code, I am releasing the object. Okay, now you'll be wondering, okay, as you were suggesting, how exactly this parameterization, instead of this parameterization, right, I'll be changing it to data dictionary. I'll be using the things through the data dictionary so that it becomes generic, so that my code becomes generic. Okay, how exactly to do that? I'll prove you guys why exactly you don't want to. You'll be wondering why this guy, I mean, straight away I can use the parameterization to pass the test data. Why you are not suggesting that? That is the first question. I'll disprove that. With the data. Okay, till that point in time, I'll just tell you how exactly the generalization can be done. Okay, and I'll let you know how exactly, if you use the primitive method like parameterization, what are the disadvantages, so that you appreciate the usage of data dictionary. Okay, so before getting into those points, you'll be wondering, guys, today it will be more of theoretical because I just need to prove why exactly data dictionary is powerful. Okay, then only when I use it, you will appreciate it. Okay, so just focus more on the theoretical part. Okay, now the thing is, in this case, if at all I use the data dictionary, right? If at all I use the data dictionary, how exactly I need to be using the next line of code which I'm going to use, right? Next line of code which I'm going to use, that only one line of code if you learn in the entire discussion today and tomorrow, right? I'll be more than happy because rest of the code is just a copy paste. Okay, when you Google it or when you see qtpworld.com, right? The codes are already available. You can just copy paste that. Okay. Now, if at all I need to use this uname and the password directly to pass the test data, what is the disadvantage? Okay. And if I use data dictionary, what is the advantage? Okay. Now, before getting into the data dictionary addition, right? Before I add key and the item, okay, I'll prove you some of the things. What are the disadvantage of using uname and the password directly this way? Okay, amount if I want to use it and interest if I want to use it. Okay, now closely observe, guys, very important. Assume I have 300 test cases. Okay, assume I have 300 test cases and assume we are automating a bank application. Automating bank application. I write many functions. Okay, I write function 1. Okay, function 1 and end function. Okay, end function. And next thing is I write function 10. Function 10, end function. Okay, then function 50. Function 50. Second one is function 10, guys. I mean, it looks odd. Just kindly bear with me. Okay, end function. This is the function 10. Okay, finally I'll be using function 100. Okay, assume there are that many functions, guys. I mean, in a sequence, function 100 and end function. Now my question is, function 1 is a debit functionality and function 10 is credit functionality. Okay, and function 100 is the total of function 1 and function 10. Okay, function 50, it's working on some module. Okay, we are not worried about that. Generally, how many values a function can return? Any answer, guys? How many values a function can return? How many values a function can return, guys? I mean, you can just go ahead. I mean, give a shot. Even if it's wrong, it's not a problem. How many values a function can return? I see the answer. Okay, function can return only one value. Very good, guys. A function can return only one value. A function can return only one value. How exactly it returns the one value? We write the function name. Say in this case, func1 equal to pass, else func1 equal to fail. Either one of these values. Okay, func1 equal to fail. We might have func1 equal to fail. First one is pass, else func1 equal to fail. The function name equal to fail. This is else. Okay. No, in the function 1, we either can return pass or else fail. Only one value can be returned. Same way in function 10 also, only any function for that matter, only one values can be written. Generally in our framework, that one value will be either pass or fail, because we navigate somewhere, validate something and return pass or fail. So function 10 also will be having how many values it will return? Only one value. Function 50, how many values it will return? Again only one value. And finally the function 100 also will return what? One value. Okay, so when it is returning one value, okay, but my functionality not only should say, my function 1 not only should say pass or fail, but it should hold some values in a variable which needs to be passed in, which needs to be passed where? It needs to be passed to this function 100. Okay, assume my debit functionality, that is in a bank account, the debit functionality is, assume it has 1000 has to be written, 1000 rupees or something like that, which is there in his debit. Okay, has to be returned, which can be used for the total in function 100. Okay, as a rule, the function can return only one value, pass or fail, and one more value should be passed to the function 100. How can I do that? How can I do that? That is one thing. And second thing is, in function 10, it's again, in function 10, it's again debit this thing. Okay, just a moment guys. In function 10, it's again credit functionality. How many values it can return? Again we'll be returning saying that function 10 some function this thing, function 10 some condition, function 10 equal to pass, else function 10 equal to, else function 10 equal to fail. So ideally speaking, we are returning only one value, either pass or fail. Assume the credit is 500 here. Credit value of that account is 500. Okay, credit value is 500 and debit value is 100. So this two, I mean 100 minus 500, the total should be 500, which needs to be calculated in function 100. This is what the whole scenario is. This is what the whole scenario is. Okay, so ideally speaking, when we design the framework or when we are writing the code, it should either return pass or fail. That one value should be written. If at all you need to return another value, say I'll just come to the function 1, function 10 and function 100 now. Okay, just focus on function 1 now. In function 1, we can either return pass or else fail. I am repeating why, because it's kind of critical guys. You may be wondering why this guy is repeating this many times. Okay, some people are slow to understand, so that's why I'm repeating too many times. Okay, function 1 can return only one value, that can be either pass or fail. Okay, supposedly if it has to return 1000, say for that I give a variable name as debit. If I give a variable name as debit, okay, this has to be put into which place? If I need to pass this, I cannot directly pass from function 1 to function 100. I cannot just directly pull this debit in this place. So what do I need to do? I need to pass it to my test data sheet. I need to pass to my test data sheet here. Okay, so in the test data sheet, what exactly it should have, what exactly I need to do? I need to create a column name. I need to create what? I need to create a column name as what? Debit. I need to create a column name as debit, so that that value is stored here. So generally how exactly your test data sheet will be guys? It will be something like this. It will have test case ID, test ID. Say the test ID will be GB01. Okay, it will be 01, GB02. I'm just having some nomenclature. Okay, GB01, GB02 like this. It'll keep on going like this. Okay, it will have the test case IDs. For this test case ID, the test data are all these things. All these are your test data. So for test case ID GB01, okay, amount, interest, tenure. So if at all when the code is getting executed, function 1, it will return pass or fail. In the status, it will have pass or fail. That is one thing. Since this debit, for this test case, it's of no use. For this test case, it might be of no use. I mean, basically, but it has to store the data, this debit data in this place. Okay, in this place. Okay. So how exactly, if at all you use the parameterization, I'm telling you how exactly the complexity comes into the picture. So that is what I am explaining. Okay, if you don't want to go to data dictionary, and if you are using if you are using the parameterization, I am letting you know what exactly the complexity is. Okay, so this 1000 has to be written back here. Okay, since it's the first row, it's all well and good. You can directly write, okay, to write back the 1000 here, what exactly you need to do? The coding will be, you need to use a data table. If you people remember, you need to add data table, then import the sheet, then take this row count, and check whether it's for the test case ID with the if condition, and then you need to write this 1000 back in this place. Okay, so you write the 1000 here. The same thing for the function 100. If I want to retrieve that back, if I want to retrieve this 100 for function 100, I mean if I want to retrieve this 1000 in the function 100, what do I need to do again? Again I need to take add the sheet, import sheet, add sheet, import sheet. I need to write the code. Then I need to write a for loop. Take the row count. First take the row count. Write a for loop. Okay. And then check for the condition, which test case ID. Then reach this column, data table dot value, debit, and then pull out this value in here. So again, it's a redundancy of the code. In function 1, to put this value in here, I need to write the redundant code. That is, first is add the sheet, import the sheet, get the row count, and check for which test case ID, put the value here. First we put the value here, and to get the value in function 100, again I need to write the code as same thing, add sheet, import sheet, then get the row count, again a for loop, check for the condition, and get this 1000. It's a redundancy of the code. Don't you people think so? Okay, don't you people think so? Now again, for function 10, how exactly to go about? For the function 10, again, how many values it can return, guys? How many values it can return? Either pass or fail, like this. Okay, for the function 10, it should return either pass or fail. We return pass or fail. I need to enter the credit value. How do I enter it? This 500, I need to enter it back. So for that, we create one more column like this, credit. Okay, and I need to enter what? 500 here. Okay, either pass or fail is done. Though for the credit thing, I need to enter it back here. I need to enter the value back in here. So how do I do that? Again, I need to use data table for that. Add sheet, import sheet, get the row count, in this case the count will be 10. Get the row count with the if condition, which test case ID is running. I need to check with the if condition which test case ID is running. For that test case ID, I need to put 500. First I'll be putting the value here. Okay, I need to put the value in this test data sheet, and my main functionality is function 100. Okay, my main functionality is function 100. To get the value 500, what do I need to do again? Add the sheet, import sheet, okay, get the row count, check for which test case ID and get this value here. So I need to get both the values. Okay, 1000 I'll get, 500 I get. Then make the calculation and then declare as final pass and the fail. To put the values to basically the function 100, what exactly it requires, guys? Basically it requires debit value and credit value. Basically it required the debit value and the credit value. To do that, we almost do a big circus. Okay, what we do is we need to create a column name, get the row count, put into a particular cell. Okay, for function 10, again insert a column, put this variable name, get the row count, put it to the particular cell. To get the value out, again we get the row count for loop and get the values out. So lots of redundancy of the code appears. You can use it, but lot of redundancy of the code. To avoid all this redundancy of the code and going around the things to get only one value, writing a lot of code to get only one value is avoided by using what? Data dictionary. By using data dictionary, it is much more easier. How to do that? See, returning pass and the fail, you can directly write it. So to get the values, in our case, in this case, to get the value, right, 1000 and 500, how exactly we are doing? We need to add the sheet, get the row count and all those things, right? In general, in simple terms, what I can do is, I just need to write this way. This is the only line of code which I want you people to understand, guys. That is more than enough for me. Dict obj dot add I need to add key and the item. What is the key? Key is debit. Key is debit and comma. What is the item? Item is 1000. What it happens? It creates a key in here in a virtual file. Debit and item is 1000. So if I want to use it here, right, I can directly call this. I can directly call from the virtual file. I'll show you how exactly I can call that. Okay, if I want to add the value, there is no need to get into the Excel sheet, put the value there and get the things out and all those stuff. You can directly call at any point in time. Okay, data dictionary is much more powerful than your environment variable. Once it is created, right, for in any function libraries, you can directly call the things. Okay, how can I add credit value? How can I add the credit value? Again, it's simple, guys. It's a very simple code. Dict obj dot add anyway we'll be using in our example as well. Okay, what is it? The key is credit, comma, key is credit and value is 500. So how exactly it will be? It will be credit here in the key this thing and value is 500. Once it is there in the virtual file, right, you can directly use it by prefixing dict obj. So if you know only this line of code, I'll be more than happy, guys. If you know only this line of code, dict obj dot add key comma item. If you know this only one line of code for next 2 days, right, 2 hours discussion, if you know only this line of code, I'll be more than happy. Okay, dict obj dot add key and the item. That is how you add the things into the data dictionary. If you know that, that's more than enough for me, because most of the code, whatever the function we write, it's a generic code. You can directly copy paste. Okay, I just want you people to understand, okay, how exactly to use the data dictionary. What is the what you call powerful feature in that? How it avoids the redundancy of the earlier parameterization. Okay, what is the basic advantage? Because from one function to the other function to pass the value, data dictionary is very, very powerful. compared to our primitive parameterization method. That is the major advantage, guys. At any point in time, if you want to pass the value, in this case, it was debit 1000. If you want to pass one more value also, right? You can just say dict obj.add something else, and you can use it at any function, at any point in time. Even when you write the function 1000 also, right? If you want to get the value from function 1, you can directly use it. Or else it will be like earlier days, this thing, redundancy code. You have to create a column name, get the row count. In this case, it's the very first row. It's all fine. Otherwise, assume if it is like GB16 or GB100 test case or something like that, you need to know what is the row count, check which test case it is, see which column, put the values there. First, you need to put the value. When you are using that back in another function 1000, you need to get that value. So again and again, we'll be repeating the same set of code. To avoid that, we are using what? The data dictionary. To avoid that, we are going to use the data dictionary. I hope everybody is able to get something. Okay. Basically, here, if you see here, set uname was our parameterization method. It's a parameterization method. And PWD is what? It's again a parameterization method. Here we are directly giving. Earlier what we used to do, to pass this amount, interest and tenure, in our earlier code, in our data driven framework code, how we were using, I'll just show you that. We'll be avoiding those things. We'll be using data dictionary. Okay, so let me just show you the earlier code, how we were seeing the parameterization and how we are eradicating that, and how we will be using the data dictionary now. Okay, guys, any doubts till this point in time? I'll go ahead and write the code so that it's much more clearer. Okay, I'm just in kind of around 30% mode kind of stuff. Even if you're not getting right, not a problem. You will get it. Gradually you will get it. But try to just give some more time so that you get to know the things. Okay, I know it's kind of one step advanced. Okay, so once I write the function tomorrow, and when I use the framework design, right, I'll be writing the same function. Then you'll get to know the usefulness of that. Okay, so let me just show you, and let me just get into the things. Okay, I'll erase all this stuff. Okay, instead of this parameterization, what we are going to use, we will be using data dictionary. So this one we are directly giving the values, and password we are directly giving the values. If you remember in earlier days, we used to pass it through the parameterization code. How was that parameterization code? If you're not remembering, right, I'll let you know. I'll show you that. Okay, open that test. What was that? Data driven part 2. Okay, if you closely observe, this one was what? Data table. If you see here, to pass this value, amount, interest and tenure, how were we passing? We got the row count, we added the sheet. All these are very, very important, guys. This piece of code you have to learn, because when we are writing the driver script in our framework, right, these are all very, very important stuff. Okay, first is add sheet, import sheet, as I was discussing earlier, and get the row count. Okay, first is add sheet. Okay, import sheet, get the row count. Okay, get the row count. Then with the for loop, in the first iteration, this set current row is your default code. If you had practiced, you would be remembering, or you need to see the data table data driven video. Okay, so you will get to know the things. Okay, set current row is nothing but it is setting the current row like this. To get the amount, interest and tenure, right, what we were doing, data table dot value amount data table put into one variable. From the Excel sheet, it is something like this. To get the interest, data table dot value interest sheet 1. To get the tenure, data table dot value tenure and sheet 1. So it has passed into how many variables? Basically 3 variables. Okay, this one in turn is passed into which place? It is passed into the function in the function library. Okay, so just a moment guys, I'll just open the function library as well. Which was the function library which we were having? EMI function library. If you see here, this set T amount is coming from where? It is coming from this place. T amount. It is taken from the Excel sheet. It is taken from the Excel sheet. We have written the code for that, and it is passed into where? To my code. Browser page dot web edit set T amount. For tenure, set T tenure. Where it is coming from? Where it is coming from? It is coming from this T tenure and T interest. So we are taking the things out of the Excel sheet. Okay, all these are parameterization method. All these, what we are doing is directly reading from the test data. It's direct reading from test data. Supposedly, if you want to add the same thing 1000 here, what exactly you need to do? Again, add sheet, import sheet, whatever the code is written, that will still remain. But you need to take the row count, reach which exactly the test case ID is, and put the data here. To put the credit, again get the row count, which test case ID it is, put the value there. To get the things out, again get the row count, reach the which test case ID is it with the if condition, and get this value out. So it becomes too much of a redundancy code. Too much of what sort of a redundancy code? This redundancy code, guys. These things, and this one will be your redundancy code. Almost 8 to 9 lines, almost 10 lines. To put some values, you need to take care of this. To get some values, you need to take care of that. And basically one more if condition will be there. Okay, to get some value, to put some value out and to get some value out, there is too much of coding which we write. That is basically a redundancy code. To avoid that, what we use the data dictionary. Okay, let me open the code now from our browser handle. Okay, I'll open the code for the browser handle. Okay, if you see here, instead of parameterization, how exactly we can use? I'm copying this. I'll put it into a new test. I'm copying the same code. I'm putting into a new test. I'm putting into a new test. Now I'll start using the data dictionary. Guys. Okay, I'll start using the data dictionary. How to start using that? Set dict obj equal to what? Create object. What is the class value? Scripting dot dictionary. Okay, now the next thing is I need to generalize this part of the code as well, guys. I need to generalize this part of the code. If you see here, it is hard coded for me for one project. I need to generalize that part of the code as well. I'll be using the data dictionary. Okay, as of now, you just see the things. I'll again prove that by end of the class how it can be totally generalized. Okay, as of now only 50% generalization will happen. Okay, by end of the class you'll get to know how exactly I can generalize this stuff. Okay, I'll say dict obj dot add. Shall I say the key as URL? Okay, comma item is my the actual value. Okay, now how exactly this will look like? Virtual file is something like this. Virtual file is something like this. Key is what? And item. Key and the item. Key is URL and item is what? Our books.rediff.com. Books.rediff.com. I'm just scribbling that, guys. Books.rediff.com. Now, how can I call this? I've added this to the virtual file. How can I call this? At any point in time, if I want to call that, I need to prefix dict obj. I need to prefix the things as dict obj. Dict obj. I need to just say the key name. I need to say the key name. Dict obj of URL when I say dict obj of URL when I say it will launch the books.rediff.com. Everybody getting an idea? Now this one will be a generalized code. This one will be a generalized code. As of now, it is high level generalization. Okay, I'll prove that. You will be wondering how can it be a generalized code? This URL can be anything. I mean, I can say URL. Some people can say what you call browser value or something like that. Anything, they can give any name. Okay, small URL they can write and all this. This one, how exactly to completely generalize, I'll come to that, but at least 50% generalization by using data dictionary. How exactly it is? It is this way. As of now, you can understand that passing the test data can be done through the data dictionary. So as of now, what we have done is passing the test data through the data dictionary. I'll come to the generalization very next step. As of now, understand, I'm passing the test data through the data dictionary like this. Okay. Now, where exactly I can pass the next set of test data? Can I say something like this? Can I say something like this? Before this line of code gets executed, shall I say dict obj dot add what's the key here, guys? Key is, shall I say UID? Key, I'll say user ID, and item is this one. Item is this value. So when I say set, how do I pick that value now? Dict obj. How do I pick that value? Dict obj of UID. Dict obj of UID. Dict obj of UID. Now this UID is what? The UID is nothing but your key. UID is nothing but is your key. And what is the value? It is QTP World 2008 G at gmail.com. QTP World 2008 G at gmail.com is your key. I mean, UID is your key, and this one will be value. Now, how can I add one more key there? How can I add one more key? So just before that line of code gets executed, dict obj dot add. What's the key here, guys? Shall I say pwd? Okay, comma. How do I give the value? Learn 123. That is my value. Generally, all this test data will be coming in from which place? It will be coming in from your test data sheet. It will be coming in from the test data sheet. How do I pull that value? How do I pull that value? Dict obj of what it is? pwd. Dict obj of pwd. So how do we write that? What exactly it will look like in the virtual file? In the virtual file, it will look like this. pwd. What is the password? It is learn123 learn123. Sorry, learn123. This is how you pass the test data. See, for all these places, wherever we pass the test data, right? All those things are handled by which way? All those things are handled by the data dictionary. Okay, all these things are handled by the data dictionary. So now final line of code. What we can do? Final line of code here. Again, if I want to pass the test data, how can I do that? How can I do that? Shall I say something like this? Dict obj dot add what it is, shall I say URL1. This is the same code which we had written in the last class, guys. Okay, where we get into one application, then navigate to a different application. This is Bing.com was a different application. So, and in the Bing.com, we just entered QTP world there. That is what we are doing it now. So when I say navigate, what exactly it is? Dict obj of, how can I use that? Dict obj of URL1. I'm calling that. I'm adding that to a virtual file. I'm adding that to a virtual file URL1. And what is that value? It is bing.com. It is bing.com. Okay. Now another last set of test data which I can get into. How can I give the last set of test data now? Dict obj dot add. Dict obj dot add. Shall I give the key name as? Key name can be anything, guys. Input and value is QTP world. How can I call that? How can I call that value? How can I? This is like we are putting the things into the virtual file and getting the things into the virtual file. Put and get, guys. It's very simple. Put the values and get the values. So to put the values, dict obj dot add, and to get the values, you need to prefix that with the data dictionary. You need to prefix that like this. Dict obj of what? The input. So to put the values, what is the code? Dictionary dict obj dot add key, and this will be your key and this will be your item. Okay, and to get the values, you are prefixing that dict obj and you are getting that value. Everybody getting an idea? Everybody getting an idea? You need to put the values this way, dict obj dot add. To get the value, just you are prefixing that. To get the values, how exactly you did it? You just say dict obj of URL, dict obj of UID, dict obj of PWD. It will give that respective values. Okay, so the last thing which will be there in our this thing will be key will be input, and value will be what? QTP world. Value will be QTP world. Okay, so everybody getting an idea how to put the values in the data dictionary and how to get the values from the data dictionary. To put the values, the simple code is dict obj dot add key and the item. To get the values, prefix that with the dict obj and that key name. It will get the values. Okay, so let me erase all this thing. Okay, now last time, and the final line of code is release the object. Set dict obj equal to nothing. Set dict obj equal to nothing. Okay, let me just save this as data dictionary 1, data dictionary 1. Okay, the same code, guys, same code what we had written earlier, same code what we had written in last week, the class. Okay, that the test data we were directly giving it here. Okay, instead of parameterizing, we are using the data dictionary. Shall we see how exactly it works? Okay, in the background, right, it creates a virtual file and it puts the data there, and this line number 17, line number 18, it gets the data. This line number 15, 5, it will get the data. Line number 3, it will put the data. 14, 15, it will put the data. In where? Into the data dictionary. In this case, line number 24, it puts the data, and line number 26, it gets the data. Again, line number 28, put the data and get the data. It's very simple things, guys. Okay, so let me just give a run. Okay, we'll see how exactly it gets executed. Basically, the whole point is it is like how exactly you add it to a virtual file and how you will get the things. What is this message box, guys? The message box is the handle property. Handle property value Browser handle property value is 67120. That is what is taken. Okay. This place now QTP World 2008G and the password is passed from where? It is basically passed from your data dictionary. Your launching of browser, your launching of bing.com is done from where? It is through the data dictionary. Okay, all the actions, the launching part, putting the test data, username, password, and again the another navigate part, that is again another navigate part is done by what? It is done through data dictionary. And finally QTP world is executed through which way? This value is entered, this test data is entered through which way? Through your data dictionary, through your data dictionary. Okay, now how can I add? You'll be wondering, okay, all these things are fine. You are saying all this data dictionary, everything should be in a generic manner. Generic things we'll be using in our framework and all those stuff. But you are still hard coding URL. You are still hard coding UID, and you are still hard coding PWD. If you see here URL 1, you are still hard coding, and input you are still hard coding the things. Okay, you are still hard coding the things because project 1 might use UID, the project 2 might use uname. Here they might use password, they might use something else. Okay, how can you make sure that these things are generalized? And moreover, if you closely observe, I'm happily writing the passing the hard coding value just before this line of code. Wherever I'm passing the test data, just before this line of code, just before this line number 17, I am adding that. It's very purely very vague way of writing the code, very amateur way of writing the code. Okay, just before I'm passing the PWD, I'm putting the value in the data dictionary. I'm just pulling out that value. Is that the way is written in the framework? The answer is no, guys. To make you people familiarize, we are just writing the things here. Just before passing the test data, we are adding that to the data dictionary. Okay, to get the test data, all this test data, what we do is in our framework we put all this test data into a virtual file upfront. We put all this test data into a data dictionary, and wherever is necessary in the code, right, we get that test data, we get that key. Okay, to do that we'll be writing a function. That activity we'll be doing it tomorrow. Okay, so supposedly if I want to put all this test data for GB05, okay, I need to use all this test data across all the function. Okay, for that my first process is the data dictionary. I'll put all these values into a data dictionary and get the necessary values in my code at the respective function. Okay, so that way we will be using it. It won't be like the hard-coded way, whatever we are using it here. Okay, that is fine. You'll be wondering, okay, this is fine. Okay, before passing the test data, you are hard coding. That you people are saying that you'll be wondering, okay, you are saying that will be put into a, we'll be writing a function. We'll be putting all these things into a data dictionary and getting the value. All those are fine. So this way of hard coding the things will not be there. Okay, this is fine. Now the next question will be, you people will be having this. Okay, all these are hard coded values, right? How can this be a generalized code? How can this be a generalized code? In the framework, right? In the framework, the same code I'll be writing like this. As of now, you need to understand the same code in the framework. Instead of this URL, right, it will be a tparam. Tparam is nothing but it's a variable name which we'll be using. So when I write this line of code, right, system.run ixflow.exe dict obj of tparam, when this line of code gets executed, the logic is written in such a way that it will launch the respective browser, it will launch the respective URL. It won't be hard coded this way. So instead of this dict obj of URL, we will be typing the code this way, dict obj of tparam. So in this place, now next thing is you'll be wondering, okay, how will be my line number 18? How will be my line number 18? Your line number 18 will look something like this. Okay, instead of this UID, what will be your code? It will be something like this. Again, T param. The respective things will be taken care by in itself. Okay, instead of this, UID, it will be a T param. So instead of password, this line of code, instead of line number 21, how exactly my coding will be in the framework? Again, this will be T param. So now I'll ask you a question, guys. Now I'll ask you a question. Can I give this line of code to any project? Yes, you can give this. But you'll be wondering how exactly I'll be using this. When I write the driver, right, you'll get to know the things. As of now, understand that through the data dictionary, I can generalize. I can write a generalized code. As of now, in these examples, I cannot showcase you that. Okay. So after writing the function tomorrow, when I write the driver, you'll get to know how exactly we can do that. This way, for any test data to pass, right? One simple thing, one blind thing which I'll be doing is hereafter when I in a framework, right? Whenever I need to pass a test data, I just need to blindly write dict obj of t param. It will take care of itself. Okay, instead of passing this particular value, I just need to say dict obj of t param. My logic will take care of everything. Instead of passing the password, I need to say dict obj of t param. It will take care of itself. Okay, everything will be taken care. I'll just comment it, guys, so that you get to know when you see the code later. I'll just comment this because anyway it's not going to be used. Okay, now can you guys help me out how exactly the generalized code this will be? This line of code, how exactly it would look like when it is in a framework? It will look something like this. Navigate, instead of this navigate, what exactly it will be? It will be a T param. Okay, so anything, the respect you'll be wondering, okay, for everything if you keep on writing T param, how will the QTP understand? Or for that we'll be writing the logic, guys. Okay, respective things will be taken care by in itself. Our framework itself will take care. So if I want to pass this input as my test data, again, in our framework, what we'll be writing is, instead of this dict obj of input, I'll be typing this as T param. That's it. For everywhere, wherever I see the test data, right, I just write the one sentence called as T param. So if you close the observe, my left part will be is generalized and my right side part also is generalized. Left part is generalized code and right side part is generalized code in the framework. This one, instead of this hard-coded value, how exactly to make the T param, we'll be discussing that in our framework design. You'll get to know. Anyway, I'll be asking the question at that point in time as well. I'll comment this. Okay. Now, everybody kind of understood how exactly to pass the test data by data dictionary. You need to prefix that with the dict obj. You need to prefix that with the dict obj and this particular key. You need to prefix that, put that in a quote with the particular key. Now, the next thing, the last thing which we'll discuss and close the today's discussion. The last thing is how exactly to pass the values by using this handle property, right? I need to use the data dictionary. As I said earlier, this is also generalized code, but in our framework, we'll be going into one step advanced and we'll be using the data dictionary to handle the left part of the code as well. Okay, how exactly to do that? Closely observe, guys. It is like I'll be putting the value of handle to the data dictionary. Dict obj dot add. Dict obj dot add. I'll say t handler. T handler is my key, comma handle. I'm passing the variable. Whenever I'm passing the variable, generally the item used to be what? I used to put it in the code. When I'm passing the variable, the item, I'm basically passing a variable name here, so there is no need to put the codes. Okay. Now, how do I call this? Instead of this handle, how do I call this? How do I put it in this place? How do I get the values now? I put the values. I put the value in this place like this. I put the values like this. What is the key? Key and the item. What is the key in here? Key is T handler. Key is T handler. And item is what? Some value. Some value. 3277 something. Something will be there, right? When it gets launched, that value will be there. So how do I pull that? How do I pull that now? How do I pull this value now? How do I pull this value? Ampersand dict obj of what? Dict obj of T handler. Dict obj of T handler. Dict obj of T handler. Okay. Now the left part is no more things will be incorporated, guys. This is totally generalized with our framework perspective, right? Left part of the code is totally generalized. So how do I pass the value dictionary object here for the handle? I need to remove this. I'm again typing to mainly because you people need to understand ampersand. How do I call that? How do I put that to get that value? Dict obj of T handler. Dict obj of T handler. How do I put the values? I'm putting the value like this. T handler. You will be seeing handle here. Handle is a variable name. Handle is a variable name. Handle is a variable name. It has some value. It has some value. It will be basically holding some value. The next thing is in this place, how do I give that, guys? How do I pass the values? I should be saying dict obj of what? Dict obj of T handler. Okay. Again in this place, how do I generalize? How do I get that value? I'm basically getting this value. Dict obj of T handler. Dict obj of T handler. So in this case, how exactly I can just copy paste, but I'm just making you people familiarize. So that's why I'm like typing concatenate. Ampersand is concatenate. Dict obj of T handler. Dict obj of T handler. So again in this place, dict obj of I'm getting the values, guys. I'm just getting the values. Dict obj of T handler. Okay, if you are feeling it's kind of getting too much, right? Only thing I'll be happy if you know is how to put this value. Basically, dict obj dot add key and the item. How exactly you add it in a virtual file? If you know that, that's more than enough, guys. Because tomorrow's function will take care of everything. Tomorrow's function, when we write, right? When we write a function, it will take care of itself, everything. Only thing you'll be worried is how to get the values. To put the values, right? We'll be writing one function. We'll be writing one function to put the values. So for getting the value, it's very simple. You need to just prefix that with the dict obj and respective key name. You can easily get the values. So everything is generalized. Let me erase all these things. Okay. Now, if I execute, browser handle is also handled in which way? Through the data dictionary. Test data is handled which way? It's again with respect to the data dictionary. So left part is completely generalized, guys. No more what you call. No more enhancement is required. It's completely done. Right side part, small enhancement need to be done. That enhancement will be taken care in the framework by using this way, dict obj of T param. That's it. Okay. So left part is completely generalized. When we say dict obj of T param, right side part is completely generalized. Okay, middle part, how exactly we do it? We'll use something called as desk object. Anyway, when I write the code, right, you'll get to know the things. Okay, let me execute. Now, browser is also handled through the data dictionary, and test data is this run. Browser handle is also handled through the data dictionary, and test data is also handled through the data dictionary. Let me just give a run. If you see here, now whatever the message box comes in, right? Whatever the message box coming in, 26376. Okay. Now next line of code, when it gets executed, it will create a key called as T handler, and 263796 will be your value item. It will be an item. Okay. Since it is held in a variable, I'm just passing that variable here instead of quote. So that is how the syntax was. Okay. Let me click OK. Okay, if you see here, everything is getting handled through the test data is also passed through the data dictionary, and browser handle is also handled through the data dictionary. So guys, this is what the data dictionary at the higher level. Till now, if you see here, little bit depth we have gone, at least 50% we have gone. When we write the function tomorrow, right, it'll be a complete package. Okay, as of now, even if you're not able to understand, or highly at the somewhere at the very 30 to 35% I am able to understand, if you think, right, that's more than enough for us. Okay, so tomorrow when we write the function, it will be completely done, because everything is taken care by a function, by a piece of code. Okay, only thing you need to be worried about is this part, how exactly to write dict obj of t param. You need to know, that's it. All the rest of the things will be taken care by the function itself. Okay, to reiterate, data dictionary is a virtual file which has the key and the item. Okay, it is used to pass the test data, and in our framework we are going to use the data dictionary for browser handle as well. Okay, so this is what the browser handle and the data dictionary concept, guys.